Hello everybody and welcome to a brand new series here on the LAGFX channel. I'm actually going to call this 10-minute tips, and the whole purpose of this is pretty much just going to be a recap on some psychological tips and factors that I think will really boost performance for all of you and really good things to remind yourself of on a daily basis. So this is going to be a brand new series that I'm creating, and the whole purpose of it is straying away from our actual trading strategy on the actual forex market and trying to hammer in much more heavily on your trading psychology, on your mindset and your outlook on the whole process, because I feel like we have adequately covered all other aspects of that on this channel. You know, I obviously have that Learn to Trade Smart Money Concepts playlist, which goes through my entire trading strategy. We have these Sunday sessions that come out every single weekend where you're getting live market analysis. So this actually fills that gap quite nicely, where you can figure out how to really put your mindset and your psychology in the best possible position to excel. So I'm going to call it 10-minute tips. I'm going to keep these videos quite short and sweet and just run through some more specific topics that we can go on. So today we're actually going to be covering controllables versus uncontrollables. And what do I mean by this? Okay, so let's just go on to the next one. And what I mean by this is basically there's going to be a lot of things that happen day to day or within trading that can fit into one of two categories. It's either something that's happened that we can control or something's happened that we can't control. We can also focus on the things in our life that we have control over moving forward and the things we don't have control over moving forward. So the first one we'll start on, as we can see on the screen, is controllables. So what can we control? Have a little think. What do you think we can control on a daily basis? Well, the first thing is the strategy that we bring to the table. Of course, we decide ourselves which strategy we pick. We decide how much time we've spent learning. We decide who we learn from, and we decide how we implicate that on a daily basis. So for starters, let's control that we are learning our trading strategy correctly. We are putting enough time in so that we can learn this strategy adequately, and we've put enough practice in so that when it comes to trading with live funds, we know already that we're profitable from a demo account. Okay. The next thing is preparation. Okay. Have we done a top-down analysis on the weekend or at the start of that day before we place a trade? Okay. That is being prepared, doing a top-down analysis. Secondly, when it comes to placing a trade, do we already know where our trade parameters are? So our stop loss and our take profit, do we already know where they're going to lay before we place a position? Now, if that's a yes, brilliant, we're prepared. We don't have to even think about that. Now, if you haven't, you then have to sit and think. It's going to A, delay you entering the trade, but then B, give an opportunity for emotion to enter your mind and sway the decision. So we need to be prepared to the best of our ability so that every single decision we make within this region is all mechanical rather than it being emotional. Next, risk management. Of course, we can decide how much risk we have per trade. We always want this to be one set figure. Obviously, this is something predetermined. I usually advise people for that to be between 0.5 to 2%, somewhere in that region. If you're on a large funded account, okay, you could probably even get away with risking maybe 0.25%. But a good region, I would say, for everyone is 0.5 to 2% per trade. And then finally, we can have control over our mentality coming into the trading day. You know, we can control whether we're positive, whether we're negative, whether we decide to let things bother us. That is in our control. Kind of going back to preparation, where it's like, before we start our trading day, are we in the right mindset? Have we maybe taken protocols to get ourselves in the right mindset, such as going for a walk, reading a book? Some of these things that can put you in that good mindset, put your mentality in the right place before starting the trading day. That's going to lie under both preparation, which ties into mentality. Now we'll go over uncontrollables, so the flip side. Fundamental news, of course, we can't control what's scheduled for the day. I'm not going to ring up the Prime Minister or the President and say, listen, mate, I don't like the fact that you've got this scheduled today. Yeah, sack that off till next week. No, we can't do that, right? We have to deal with the fact it's scheduled on that day. We also can't control whether that outcome is positive or negative, or how that will affect a currency or a currency pair. So therefore, all we can do is prepare for both scenarios, prepare for the best and the worst. But then at the same time, if fundamental news comes out and it damages us, it's uncontrollable, so we should not let that annoy us. Win/loss, so it's statistical based. When we place a trade, we're working with the fact that there's an X% chance it plays out. It's not it will or it won't. There's no guarantees. So when we place a trade, it is out of our control of whether or not that trade wins us money or loses us money. As long as we have followed our trading strategy to the T, that's a win. Okay, that's all we can control. We can't control the outcome. So don't let the outcome bother you. Technical errors, there's been times in the past where the app or the software has glitched out when I've tried to place a trade, wouldn't let me. Or maybe there's been, just small technical errors. Maybe my phone dies on me or something. I don't get a notification at the right time. All these little things that can potentially annoy you. Again, that's outside of our control. So why are we going to let that annoy us? And time. I've heard so many people say, yeah, I could have won this trade if I was awake at 4 a.m. Yeah, but you weren't. You weren't awake at 4 a.m. So why? Why are we even thinking about that? We have our set trading hours and set trading days that fit in our schedule that we have determined prior. And if we miss something inside of that, let's say a trade happens outside of our trading hours, it doesn't matter. All that matters is, okay, it's hit 8 a.m. I start trading. How am I now going to tackle this market given where price is now? I don't care what it has done. I only care about what it's currently doing and what it could potentially do in the future. So why are these important? I mean, firstly, to alleviate stress. If you're worrying about things that you cannot control and getting stressed out, it's very inefficient and pointless because why? We couldn't control them. There's nothing we could have physically done to change the outcome. So how can we let that annoy us when it's outside of our control? To prioritize our energy, obviously, when we're stressed, we're putting a lot of energy into negative feelings. When we could actually alleviate that, convert that into positive feelings, and smash the day. Finally, to safeguard our mentality, being negative, being stressed is only going to negatively influence your trading performance on the day or the week. Our trading psychology is so important. We cannot let anything, it should be a temple, it should be Fort Knox, okay? There should not be anything penetrating that thing at all. We need to safeguard our mentality, right? And not let anything throw us off the game, because if we let something uncontrollable annoy us, and then that makes us lose money and be less successful in the day, it's so stupid. So let's actually just think about that. Try and actually write out, as I've done, the things you can control and the things you can't control, and make sure you are never getting annoyed on the things you can't control. So as we put the bottom there, our mentality is quite simply the limiting factor to success. So what is the focus? What is the point of this 10-minute tip? So focus on what you can control. That's where your energy needs to be, because the more energy we can put into preparing for the day, the more or the better the outcome will be by the end of it. If we wake up and all we're worrying about is, loads of my alerts went off last night, I've missed that trade, I could have been up 10%. Okay, that's energy already. That's time and energy on something negative. If you just alleviate that, throw your phone away and say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of bed. I'm going to go down. I'm going to grab a coffee. I'm going to read a book for half an hour. That's just fueling positive energy. We've removed any negativity, all by focusing on what we can control rather than what we can't. So ensure all controllables have been set in order. As I said, literally write a list of all the things you can control and all the things you can't control. And if ever you find yourself worrying about something you can't control, stop. Just stop instantly. Take a second, take a deep breath and say, listen, sort it out, mate. We don't need to be doing this. Let's regain the focus onto what we can control. And yeah, just removing emotional attachments to uncontrollables is the whole point of this. So yeah, that is pretty much going to conclude the content of all of this. And just to recap, there's going to be things that happen in the day, whether that's from trading or externally in our lifestyle. And we have to try and designate those into two categories, either the controllables or the uncontrollables. Our energy should only be here in the controllables and nothing in the uncontrollables. The more energy we have in the uncontrollable section, the less energy we can have on the more important controllable things. So just get those priorities in order. Make sure we're constantly being aware that our psychology is a temple and we must safeguard that at all costs. So yeah, that is going to wrap up this little tip that I have for you all. Hopefully you've quite liked this style of video where it's more of a sit and walk through, a bit more of a presentation style, just to help you all, I guess, get your mindset in the right place. And I'm hoping a lot of you are going to get a few like light bulb moments, you know, when something's explained and you're like, oh shit, yeah, that makes so much sense now. So hopefully through these videos, you're actually going to get that. It's going to click a little bit and you're going to say, wow, that's something I want to implement. You'll start implementing it and you'll see the difference instantly. So just remember, controllables, uncontrollables, all the energy on controllables and none on uncontrollables. But yeah, just to round that up, if you kind of like this style of video, make sure to leave us the feedback. You know, a like, a comment actually goes a huge way for us. We're really trying to grow the channel. So every like, every comment, and everyone watching literally helps us in the algorithm. So just for a click of one button, you can actually be doing us a huge favor. So to everyone who does that, thank you. To everyone who doesn't, sort it out, mate. But regardless, we will see you probably in a week, 2 weeks for the next 10-minute tip. Any video ideas, let us know, but I'm waffling now, so we'll round it up. See you all soon.